What's going on, peeps? Thank you for joining me for another beer battle / comparison video. It's Beer Monster O'Clock. I hope everybody's keeping well. For today's comparison / beer battle video, we're going to be putting Hertog Jan Grand Pilsener, which is a 5.7% Dutch Pilsner. Got a decent strength to it. The can version versus the PD version. Is it worth getting it on the PD if you can get the cans or whatever? See if it's actually better on the PD or whether there's not really any difference. That's what I'm here to sort of, compare and see whether I think it's worth getting the keg on the PD or not, pretty much. Let's pour the PD one first, because sometimes that can be a bit messy. Let me know if you've tried the Grand Pilsner on the PD and what you think of it. It's also going to be a review of it, because I've not reviewed it yet. I have reviewed the can, but not the PD version yet. That'll do nicely. Getting good at this, I'm pouring on the Perfectdraft. Bash. Right. That's the PD version. Looks lovely. Good levels of carbonation. I'll show you that. Definitely doesn't have the problem that Stella did on the PD for me, because Stella was flat. This one, cracking. Right, let's get the can version in the glass. I put the PD version one in a Stella chalice because I haven't got the big glass for it. I've only got 1 gram Pilsner glass. This is a little one, so I put the little can in that. It makes sense, doesn't it? Plus, it makes it easy for me to remember what one's what, I suppose. Yeah, let me know if you tried, as I say, this beer, whether on the PD or not, and let me know your thoughts of it. It's proven to be very popular on the Perfectdraft, actually. And when I reviewed the can version, I did quite like it, but I wasn't wowed. So let's go in with the can version again, just to give it a quick rerun of when I reviewed it around a week or two ago. The carbonation with this one, the bubbles are so much bigger in the can version. You can see it going up the glass there. Big, big bubbles, which is not a good sign. Tiny little bubbles in the Perfectdraft version. It's just got that draft quality look to it. Looks department, I mean, it's an easy win for the Perfectdraft version. I mean, I think every single one of you would agree with that. The head retention's better, the head looks nice and creamy and fluffy. It just looks like a proper decent pint from the pub, doesn't it? It really does. Whereas this, bubbles are massive, the head's dying off quickly. Yeah, it doesn't look the most impressive to look at for me. Right, let's go in with the can version first. Got to do the aroma, didn't I? Aroma wise, just sort of a sweet malt for me. A little bit grainy. It just smells like a bang average lager. Even though it's 5.7%, it doesn't smell anything special. Light bodied for 5.7 as well. The can version. Medium feel to the carbonation. Though them big bubbles, they're making it feel quite gassy. It's not bad. It's a good beer. It's definitely better than your average sort of macro beer you pick up in the supermarket. Do you know what I mean? It's a Dutch Pilsner. Just for me, it lacks a bit of bite, a bit of a Pilsner bite, which my favourite Pilsners have, that sort of crisp, dry finish with a bit of a bitterness and a bite to them. You know what I mean if you're a Pilsner fan. This is quite a malty Pilsner, bready sort of malt, so a slight sour tone out of the can for me. Maybe a little bit metallic, just slight. Nothing major though. Touch of spice on the finish. With a little bit of citrus, very subdued, but well balanced. Well balanced, very easy drinking for the 5.7%. Now let's go in with the Perfect Draft version. Let's see if the aroma is any different. It just smells cleaner. It's still getting that sweet maltiness, but you're not getting that. I mean, I don't think I mentioned it, but there is a slight metallic note from the Hertog Jan on the aroma, and you're just not getting that with this. Again, it's a lager. It don't smell like much. And look at the lacing on the glass. You know, compared to that, they're the same beer, they're the same ABV. They're both brewed in Holland. Even colour-wise, I would say Perfect Draft one's darker. Look, which I've just noticed. Right, let's go in. It's much better on the Perfect Draft for me. It's good doing these comparisons, putting the can against the Perfect Draft version of the same beer, as it makes you realise why you bought a Perfect Draft. And the number one reason for me is just that draft mouthfeel. This one's so much smoother. It just glides down and you feel like you're drinking a quality beer. 90% of it is in the mouthfeel, I'm not going to lie. But the mouthfeel is a big deal. It's definitely not something should be overlooked. This one's just so much smoother. It's got more body to it. It just feels more premium, just because right away you're getting that mouthfeel that you get from a decent draft pint, which you're not getting with that. So you feel like you're being treated, you know? It feels like you've gone to the pub and you're having a proper pint. Whereas this is just like, you know, it's all right, there's nothing wrong with it. Just having a can of beer at home sort of thing, you know, which is enjoyable enough. It's just, I mean, the quality, you've only got to look at these two beers. Look at the lacing. Carbonation bubble size is ridiculously different. The taste isn't so different, if I'm honest. It mainly is in the mouthfeel. A little bit more bite to the Perfect Draft one as well. It sort of lingers a little bit more on the finish. Oh, going back to that after I've been drinking that for a while, just makes the gap increase more. Going back to the can version after you've been having a few sips of the draft one, yeah, it's actually making the can one taste pretty bad, if I'm honest. But it's really not a bad can of beer, you know, in general, compared to other cans of beer. It just cannot match the Perfect Draft. But tasting those, you know, they're pretty much the same as what I mentioned with the Hertog Jan. Definitely not got the metallic feel. The mouthfeel, the body of the beer is much better. You've got the lacing. It just goes down easier as well because the smoothness to it doesn't have that slight metallic taste you get from a can. The aftertaste is slightly improved. But, you know, as far as actual flavours goes, I've got to be honest, there's really not a lot in it. It's all in the appearance, really, and the mouthfeel, and just the feel of the beer in your mouth. Just the whole experience of drinking the beer is muchly increased. But, you know, if that's an 8 out of 10 lager out of a can, and this tastes exactly the same, just having that mouthfeel and everything else that you get with a Perfect Draft version easily gives it at least one more mark for me. I think even more than one more mark, to be honest, because it just increases the enjoyability of it. I'm not even drinking this one out of the proper glass, whereas that canned one I am, you know. But I do still think I wish it had a bit more bite. But the best thing about this beer, whether you're drinking it from a can or a Perfect Draft, it's just super well balanced. So well balanced that nothing really stands out, and that's my only issue with it. You know, the balance of bitterness to sweetness from the malts is just perfect. You know, there's just the right amount of bitterness to cut through that sweetness, but where it's so well balanced, it makes it a little bit of a sort of, you know, as you're drinking it, there's not sort of there's no lines in it. It's just a bit of a flat tasting beer. Not that that's a negative, because it's good to have a balanced beer, you know, but just a bit more bite, or just something that just stands out that's maybe not quite perfectly balanced, but just gives you something to remember the beer by. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're talking at me being an arsehole. But I'm going to give it a 9.2 on the PD, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of the can. It's a decent can of beer, but just having it on the Perfectdraft takes it up to the next level. It really does. So absolutely, it's a better beer, and it's worth the extra money, especially if you want to feel like you're treating yourself. Do you know what I mean? If you just want a beer and you don't really give a toss much watching the football, drink the can. But if you want to treat, you know, Christmas, your birthday or whatever, and you want to drink the ultimate version of this beer, perhaps you're a fan, PD version all day long for me. Thanks for watching, guys. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed this review. Consider subscribing to the channel if you've not done already. Until next one, bye bye, darlings. Bash.